Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Jenny from sleepsnob.com. In today's video, I'm going to talk about sleep and ADHD. Do you have ADHD or you think you have ADHD? With a constant lack of sleep, your brain doesn't function quite as well. It affects your attention span, your memory, your mood, and even your behavior. But did you know that with a constant lack of sleep, it can seem like you have ADHD? With a constant lack of sleep, the same symptoms can manifest itself like you have ADHD. There are three major types of ADHD. ADD used to be considered separate from ADHD, but currently under the DSM-5, ADD is considered and classified under ADHD. There's three different types. So when I'm referring to ADHD in this video, I'm including ADD as well. So the three different types are ADHD hyperactive type, the second type is inattentive, and the third one is combined. So hyperactivity and inattentiveness combined together. I'm not going to go too much into the different symptoms, the differences between them two. I'm just going to refer to the major symptoms. So with the hyperactive type, that's non-stop movement, running around the room, endless pacing, talking non-stop, interrupting others, and being impulsive. The inattentive type is being bored quickly, not being able to pay attention to the instructions, not being able to focus on tasks, and easily distracted. So this video is not about ADHD, but rather if you have ADHD, if you think you have ADHD, is it possible that it's due to a lack of sleep? When you don't get enough sleep, your mind lacks focus and attention. You have a much shorter attention span. You have lack of memory, even brain fog. When you constantly lack sleep, it seems like you have ADHD, but maybe it's not. ADHD is increasingly being given as a diagnosis, especially in children, when in fact you or your child may not be getting enough sleep or waking up too early. When it's your child, if they act out or misbehave, they become hyper. Sometimes as parents, you think there's something wrong with them. Maybe you don't want to deal with it, especially, when they're at school and the teachers label them as loud, noisy, and distracting others. You bring them to the doctors, and they're easily diagnosed with ADHD or ADD, and they're readily given medication when they actually just require some sleep. Wouldn't you rather just fix your child's sleep and give them medication or solve the root cause rather than giving them medication that they don't need, or even for yourself? The actual checklist for ADHD is a little bit extensive, but let's compare the major symptoms. I'm going to put a chart wherever it fits in this video to compare the major symptoms of ADHD and if it corresponds to a lack of sleep as well. So with hyperactivity, someone with a lack of sleep, you've probably felt it. Instead of feeling tired, you feel super hyper, you feel like almost a temporary high. Especially in children, it makes them hyperactive, right? So I felt it, sometimes I've had like 3 hours of sleep, and instead of feeling tired, I feel hyper, I feel super alert. And the reason why is because when we're tired, it increases our stress levels. So our body pumps us full of cortisol and adrenaline because it thinks we need that energy to stay awake. With inattention, because we're tired, our body and mind is tired and stressed out, we're going to have a hard time focusing on anything because it's literally, your body is literally trying to keep you powered and awake. If all that energy is spent on keeping you awake, how much energy and capacity is left to focus on other activities? It can be hard to differentiate between the two sometimes, especially with kids, right? With yourself, you kind of know if you're lacking sleep, but with children, they might be feeling tired, but you don't necessarily correlate the lack of sleep with the hyperactivity or inattentiveness. And it also might be a chicken and egg issue, right? If you or your kids might have trouble going to bed because you have so much energy from ADHD, and especially if you're taking ADHD medication like Adderall and Ritalin, it might prevent you from feeling tired and falling asleep at bedtime, and next day rolls around and it's the same cycle over again. So what are the signs that you're sleep deprived or having sleep issues rather than ADHD? So you're not getting enough sleep every night, of course. So second one is you have trouble staying awake during the day, you're falling asleep during class, driving, and any activities where you're not supposed to be falling asleep. You're constantly hungry. So when you're tired, your body is constantly craving like junk food and carbs. Another sign is if you have trouble falling asleep at night and trouble waking up in the morning. And the last one I have on the list is constantly waking up during the night. Sometimes, unluckily, you have both ADHD and sleep issues. The only way to know for sure is if you fix your sleep issues, if you have any, and track it for a period of time. I would get it checked out by a sleep doctor and also get it and also track it by yourself. I would give it about 2 weeks to maybe a month, I would say, and do it consistently so you know that you're trying to correct your sleep issues, to rule it out that it's not because of sleep deprivation. Before you decide you have ADHD, or bring your kids or yourself to the doctors and say, I have ADHD, look for signs that it might be symptoms of other reasons, such as sleep. A good doctor will assess to see if the ADHD symptoms are possibly other causes, instead of just, telling you, yes, you have ADHD and here's your prescription. Even if it's not due to sleep deprivation, ADHD is one of the top misdiagnoses for many other disorders, illnesses, and symptoms of other reasons. And more people are just being prescribed the ADHD medication without a proper diagnosis, especially just young kids, right? Kids that are age 2, age 3, 4, 5, like kids might just be hyper, right? So other causes can be vision problems, depression, trauma, substance abuse, even giftedness. So if you don't think about it, it might sound strange, but if, for example, if your child has gifted abilities, they might be bored, when they might not be paying attention in class, they might not be paying attention to, what you're saying because they already know the answers, right? Their brain is looking for other things that stimulate them, and it might seem like they're not paying attention or they're running around because they already know this information, right? So to them, it's like they're not being stimulated enough. So it might seem like ADHD, but it might not. So try to rule out if your ADHD symptoms are possibly due to sleep deprivation. So what can you do to rule these out? First, ask yourself or your child, are you guys lacking sleep? Are you getting enough sleep? Are you waking up in the middle of the night? Are you having trouble staying awake during the day? If you answered yes to these questions, I would look for a sleep doctor in your area to rule out any actual sleeping disorders. Also, you can track your sleep yourself using a sleep journal and phone app. There's so many phone apps for tracking sleep these days. Like, as a society, I noticed, that we're actually paying more attention to sleep and rest. I also have a sleep journal that you can purchase as well. Another thing you can do is follow my Instagram and subscribe to my channel to learn more things about sleep, everything related to sleep, how you can improve your sleep, learn what good hygiene is, and to ensure you're putting yourself in the position to prioritize your sleep. Wouldn't you rather fix your sleep issues, if you have any, rather than being misdiagnosed? And if you do have ADHD and you have sleep issues as well, fixing those sleep issues and addressing any sleep disorders will actually improve your ADHD. So that's it for this video on sleep and ADHD. I hope it was informative and shed some light on other possible causes for your ADHD symptoms. And how sleep and ADHD can be really hard to differentiate sometimes. If you or your kids have ADHD, I hope you take the time to rule out other possible causes. If you know someone that has these symptoms or is diagnosed with ADHD, please share this video. It might help them. And as always, if you like this video, please remember to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more videos on sleep and energy. Thanks so much for watching. See you guys next time.